So this is where the water comes down Spanish Creek. And this is where we've dammed it up somewhat. And our intake valves, our intake are under there, perforated pipes. And you can see right now there's a lot of sand on top. And this is the problem because a lot comes down from the creek and goes over the dam, which we can take out if we need to. But we don't very often. And continues down to where Prem is standing, and that's where we're going to cross the creek, and it must go under there, and you can see in the far the first measuring weir. So I'm going to stop the video here and cross the creek. So here we are on the other side of the creek. This is the Ashram side of the creek. We share this creek border with the Zen Center. Continues going. Meanwhile, here's one valve that we use to shut off the water when we're cleaning it. And I believe we've had some trouble with this. Here's Prim. This is our first measuring weir that we had to put in for the water court. Make sure we don't take too much. So my idea would be that here is further down the creek where we have a natural forming pool of sorts. If we could excavate here and make an area where there'd be a lagoon where we could put the intake, so we didn't have the constant flow of the fresh water coming in, bringing rocks and mud and sand. And then if we could connect to the water lines there that are 7 feet under the ground. So this is one thought I had. Be a lot of excavation, but might work. Just showing you how far we've brought down from the measuring weir.
That's about
Anyway, as you can see, it's very beautiful. So this is a few hundred yards further down, and this is where the pipes are coming, and this is our sand filter here where the water percolates through sand, supposedly as a first cleanse. We have a valve here that we're having trouble with.
Well, even this one is starting to act up, but that one you can't budget now.
So this one is, and that's the ones that we would use.
Yeah, this would all. I mean, as a first thing, this would need to be addressed.
Okay.
Even if we're going to maintain the same style of system. Maybe.
And then walking over here, we have another measuring weir that was placed in for the government, so we could make sure we weren't taking too much. And it's similar with a similar cross for the water to flow over and measure. And there's another valve there. And over here is our holding tank. How much does it hold, Pim?
6,000 gallons.
6,000 gallons. So this is where the water is held until we utilize it for the ashram.
So the amount of water in here also creates enough force pushing down, going downhill for pressure in our pipes going into the buildings down below. Another couple hundred yards down the hill.
But it is a good downhill.
Yeah, it's fair slope.
Yeah, slope.
Comes from that point over to this point. They got to have an elbow in it somewhere here under the ground.
So that's
And I'm
where
not
there's
sure.
there's a
I think
valve.
I don't know. It might be a 6-inch pipe. We'd have to look at the schematic.
Okay, we'll take a
'Cause it
picture of the
turns into
schematics.
it might be a 4-inch pipe. It comes in here and then it goes down to a 2-inch pipe in here. So there's a 2-inch pipe that goes all the way down to the buildings.
Oh, from there it's a 2-inch.
I think so. I
Okay.
have to look at the schematics, but
Okay.
from what I remember opening this up.
There's a valve in there to turn off the water that goes down to the ashram. So, and that goes down this ferry and then comes back to here.
Well, it goes out that way, straight.
Right. And there is a good drop. Thinking of the pressure that we want for the ashram, which has always been pretty good for all of our buildings. So there is a decent drop. And it's several hundred yards. Once again, you can see how gorgeous our land is. It's got the mountain peaks still a little bit full of snow, trees everywhere. We live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. And our water is spectacular coming from the creek. I do want to say on either side of the creek there is right away for people to hike on and for the government, I guess, to come up and check out the creek. So even though that's the boundary between ourselves and the Zen Center, there is, I don't think we could build right up to the creek. So you can see here we have a little bit of an incline, but then the final drop is obviously significant enough to generate good water pressure in all of our buildings, which is the temple, the dormitory, the earthship, two small hermitages. And once again, you see the magnificent views. We're walking along the road that was put in because the pipes are 7 feet at least down because of our freezing in the winter, which can go way below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. But now you see we're going down. We're coming up to the dormitory on the left and the solar collectors. And that's the first place where the water is teed off to utilize for the dormitory. So hopefully that gives you a little idea of where we're at and what we need. We really don't have the money to spend a lot of money, but we do have to, first of all, fix up some valves and then hopefully remedy the intake, whether it's create a whole new lagoon like the Zen Center has, or if it's just to remedy what's going on up higher. But to me, I don't see the purpose of having it so high if we can keep it simpler, because getting big equipment up to where the intake valve is, or the intake perforated pipes are, would be very difficult. And it was done over 30 years ago, and they had to actually reconfigure the whole creek at that time. And we have to also consider that we need to have water here, because we're busy 24/7 here. Here's the dormitory. Here's our garden and greenhouse. temple's over here. There's water also going into the greenhouse. Going on to the temple. And then this lower building is called an earth ship built into the earth. So we have water there too. There's our beautiful temple. Our ship. Just walk a few minutes, a little bit more to show you that there's two hermitages right down here beyond the car. And the water is also going down there. And I would say we have good water pressure there as well. So they're there with the solar panels. Once again, the garden, the greenhouse, and the top of the earth ship where we have our dining room and office and shop. So we're 101 acres here. Over there you can see a little shed that overlooks our big Haidakhandi. And we've run on a pretty shoestring budget all this time. With Baba's and Mother's grace. So, Baba Ki Jai.